Should you stay in or go out for Valentine's Day? Sometimes I ask myself that question. You're probably asking the same question. You're asking yourself, what are the advantages and benefits of a fancy dinner in that special restaurant versus creating a romantic dinner at home? Well, I think most people would pick that once-a-year restaurant because the thought of cooking this type of meal, a romantic, intense, kind of elegant meal, well, it's like the cold shower on what would otherwise be a very romantic dinner. So then I ask, well, what would Cupid do? Even that bow and arrow armed pudgy cherub might have to give this some thought. Should we stay in or should we go out for Valentine's Day? So to make this very important decision, you have to consider the benefits involved in creating a romantic evening at home or letting someone else do it for you. So here are some of the things to consider. First, money. I mean, unless romance is the Olive Garden or TGI Fridays to you, you're probably going to drop some coin. And according to Zagat, the restaurant rating people, the average couple will spend $147 on a Valentine's Day dinner. Now that's $100 more than the average spent for any other night of the year. So what that says is you're going to spend an extra $100 more than you normally would for any other night of the year. The second is convenience. Restaurant professionals like me know that Valentine's Day and Mother's Day are the worst nights of the year to go to a restaurant. There's an unusual burden on the restaurant staff and systems on these two particular nights. Restaurants often see a surge that they can't handle. And you could face potential disappointment along with the $147 check because an otherwise excellent restaurant on any other night of the year is swamped between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. on this one particular day. The third thing to consider is wine. According to Zagat, again, 45% of their survey respondents said that they would be going to a restaurant for a romantic night and that they would splurge on a nice bottle of wine. However, that same bottle of wine at the wine store will be 20% of what you'd pay for it in a restaurant when it's uncorked and poured at your table. That means a $20 bottle of wine you'd really want is $100 in the restaurant. Well, either save the money or buy an even nice bottle of wine and enjoy it at your own table in your home. Fourth to consider is quality and control. I mean, if you prepare a romantic dinner at home, you have better control over the food choices. You have better control over the sources. If you're concerned about where your food comes from, to dine out, you might have to visit the local farm-to-table restaurant, and their options are limited by the seasonality as well. But when you write the menu, you control the food, you control the source, and you control the cost. Fifth, aphrodisiacs. Tongue-in-cheek, he said, yes, foods that excite more than the palate. There are many foods that, through either science or myth, supposedly have aphrodisiac qualities to them. And during the most romantic meal of the year, wouldn't it be great to use some romance-inducing foods for an extra special night? Worth consideration and knowledge. Number 6 is achieving together. Despite the alleged aphrodisiac qualities of some foods, I think just the act of preparing a meal together with the one you love, working on the entire affair together, is probably the most romantic part of Valentine's Day. The pride, the confidence that you experience having created and enjoyed a fantastic meal in your home, I would think that would be aphrodisiac enough, regardless of what you ate. Number 7 is the ceremony involved in it. I mean, going to a restaurant is easy, well, most of the time. If you have to wait for a table, this can become a romance killer. And Zagat says that only 17% of people who are going to a restaurant on Valentine's Day make their reservation in advance. That means 83% are waiting for a table. So if you don't plan ahead, you'll spend your Valentine's Day waiting in the lobby instead. However, compare that to the ceremony of planning, creating, presenting a romantic meal in your own home. It might spark fantastic scenarios in your head. I mean, if you get dressed for dinner, are you lord and lady of the manor? You're all dressed even in your own home? Well, if you do that in your mind, then you are aristocracy. It becomes even more than a meal. It's a total celebration of romance surrounding the meal. The eighth consideration is portions. If you stay in, you control how much food is served. Most restaurants way over portion, and this overfull feeling is anything but romantic. It's a food hangover. In the US, we get way too much food on our plates. Now, of course, you can ask for a doggy bag, but the leftovers, they don't look the same the next day. They don't taste the same the next day. As a matter of fact, eating 2-day-old leftovers from a restaurant diminishes the original experience in my mind in some way. You've heard of beer goggles? Maybe call this fine burgundy goggles. When that entree that looked so beautiful last night is wearing the same tin foil in the walk of shame the next day, the food just never looks good, and it ruins my memory of it the night before. Number 9 consideration is the time and effort. It takes just as much time and effort to get in the car, drive to the restaurant, locate or pay for parking, wait for your table, wait for service, wait for your check, wait for your car, drive home, than it takes to create the meal yourself. With the right plan, with a few cooking methods, and your seasoning of love, you can make a better meal in less time than it takes to go out and get one. Last is the warmth and safety. If you stay home, you're already home. And hopefully you would never drink and drive, so the romantic meal at home means that you can relax. You can enjoy your evening without worry. It's cold outside, baby. It's warm in your house. Stay closer to the kitchen this Valentine's Day, and you'll also be closer to the bedroom. My recommendation, considering all these things, is that you go out for dinner. But not on Valentine's Day. Your local restaurant has plenty of business. They could use it any other night of the year. They're booked on Valentine's Day. Go sometime else and you can enjoy this nice night. So when you decide to stay in for Valentine's Day, what you need is to create the most romantic meal your kitchen has ever seen. How's that pressure? Well, no pressure if you have a plan. You need a plan. You need a simple step-by-step procedure to create a menu, to gather the ingredients and lovingly present a meal that you've prepared and enjoyed together. And I have that plan for you. Scroll down on this page and get the free video of my plan for creating an elegant meal at home, and get my chocolate at every meal cookbook for free.